It's funky. I almost feel like I should be singing.
It makes you want to dance, that's for sure.
All right, I could do that all day, but we'll get started. Welcome to the show. Hey, everybody. My name is Ira Bowman. This is a LinkedIn Live. It's Tuesday. I used to do a printer show on Tuesdays because I was in the print business. And recently, these two here helped me switch kind of. And I joined their team, Exit Your Way. So here we are. We're Exit Your Way. And I've got with me Andrew and Damon. And these guys are amazing. They're awesome. A lot of fun. I want to first show you guys this thing right here. So this is our website, exityourway.us. It's not a .com. That kind of throws people off, I know. But anyways, click exityourway.us or just shoot me a message. And I'll get you pointed in the right direction. But I knew you guys for a while. I was working with you in my coaching, my Bowman coaching. And then as I became available on the job market, you guys snatched me up in part. Something I want to talk about, fractional work. That's a new thing. So we're going to talk about that. And we'll talk about a lot of other stuff too. But anyways, I've been looking forward to this episode for a while, just getting you guys on and talking about what we do at Exit Your Way, how we help people. One of the questions that I had in my own mind was, well, how many people do I know who are, trying to sell a business? The avatar, obviously, and we could talk about the avatar too. But then when we started talking about the a la carte services, I got really excited. And I think, Damon, you were the first one that I talked to about that. But anyways, the a la carte services can apply to anybody, really. Yeah. If you're a business owner and you need some help, I put in the description, I know you guys can't see it, but I put in the show description, like, hey, I'm really good at sales. I'm pretty good at graphic design, and that's about it. So I lean on people for everything else. And that's like our business in our careers. We develop these things where we're really good at something. And most other things, we need an accountant, we need a lawyer, we need advertising, we need somebody to come in and help us figure out where our bottlenecks are and how we can alleviate those with their super sharp engineering skills or whatever it is. We were talking valuations earlier with one of our consultant partners. And, it all comes together. But none of us, I don't think, can do it all. So we lean on each other. And that's what Exit Your Way is doing. Both, the people we're trying to sell for and the people that are just using us for a la carte. So tell us, Andrew, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about how Exit Your Way got started, and we'll just kind of carry the conversation from there.
Yeah. Well, firstly, thanks. Thanks for having us on, Ira. And we feel, really fortunate to have the opportunity to bring you on board on the team. So you're whoever let you go, your former employer. Wow, thanks for that. We really appreciate it.
I'm actually thanking them too.
I think you will too. Because we're going to, we talk about fractional and that kind of stuff, and at the end of the day, Exit Your Way is a people business. We are an aggregator. We have a network of talented people, and what we're really doing is applying those resources and making them available and affordable to the small business owner. You're right, and it isn't just. It's not a big. There's no secret sauce to it, but we just we group people together who are actively working on helping businesses improve, whether that's top line, bottom line. reorganization on the human resource side, improving the technology. Some are specialists, some are generalists, coaches, whether it's in the psyche in the company and the culture of the company on some of the soft aspects, all those areas that you need to, that helps improve the value of your company. We just, like you said, we can do this at any cycle in the business cycle. We just like to focus on the end of when the people want to exit, because that's a crucial transition and most companies die. They don't make it through, multiple generations. They don't, it's a rarity to have a legacy where a company will go on and thrive after the original founders have moved on. And everybody, 100% of the people who are in business, it's going to end.
Right. We're all going to stop working one way or the other, whether we retire or someone buys us, whatever.
Every single person who's in business will get out.
Yeah. I have an expression I like to say, and I think it catches most people off guard. It's gravity is undefeated.
Yeah.
For Andrew and I, it's a little bit more undefeated than Damon's holding on. But my wife likes to tease me about these wrinkles that are distinguishing features.
I agree with her.
They're starting to rule my face.
Yeah.
But Andrew, you said something to me that was astounding. Like, I didn't understand it. I didn't ever I like numbers because you and I talk all the time now. So I'm a numbers geek. But you said 80% of business owners don't end up selling, right? Their business is like not worth anything, or they're not able to sell it. And that's one of the things that we're trying to fix at Exit Your Way. So when you walk away with more. And it's hard sometimes. What did you say? It's hard for people to let go of, you said there was a term.
Letting go of the vine.
The vine, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I think we like to work with, Traction's a great, we work with practitioners of that system. And it's a good system. It helps, it aligns with what we're trying to do, because we like to work with business owners. They're lower middle market companies. They're mostly privately held. And the founder is working in the business now, and they are getting towards retirement age. But nobody passes companies on to their children anymore, and it's not because it's not a great opportunity, but because their children have better things to do. And so that's a rarity that transitions that way. It's really difficult to transition to key employees. It's difficult to sell the company. And then there's a lot of other ways to get out of your business, which are all bad. Just close the doors, shut it down. It's really a wasted resource. People lose jobs. Our economy suffers. And so we like to work with companies. They're sort of on that borderline between, they're good companies, but really the definition of a great company is one that is a legacy that can continue on without you. But letting go of the vine is important. Yeah. And for anybody I've got to work with selling a company, now they have to let go of the vine, and they're not used to doing that, because
you're going to let go eventually because you're selling it, right?
If they're not going to be there to run the company, who's going to buy it?
Right. The sooner somebody, when we enter the equation, and the sooner they can figure out that they need to there's a transition period, and we could talk about that too. 12 to 18 months is the average transition period. But if they let us get in there and get our hands dirty, maybe that's not the best way to say it, but I'll have to think of a better way. But anyways, the more that we can get in there and they can get them out, the more that the potential buyer sees, like, hey, it's not just the person that was running it, right? That's the whole point of this is if your business doesn't exist without you, we can't really sell it.
Well, you talked about valuations earlier today, Ira, and they will factor in that company that runs by itself, that you're not working in the business, you're working on the business, like an investment. That is going to be 3 times more valuable than one where you're doing all the work.
Yeah.
Right. And we were talking about too, this ability to scalability. So Damon, let me bring you into the conversation, because I could sit here and talk with either one of you all day long. So Andrew, we're talking about, the process of selling a business. and we'll get into more details. But Andrew or Damon, let's talk about the a la carte services.
Yeah.
Because that was the first thing, like when you had that conversation with me about, hey, we can do this or we can do that as a segment only. Somebody needs accounting, somebody needs sales help, whatever, we can come in. Our avatar at Exit Your Way is usually someone between 55 and 65. They're, they're in the twilight of the career, and they're starting to think about legacy and what happens afterwards. Maybe it's retirement or whatever they want to do by getting out. But that doesn't mean we can't help somebody who's 27, who's
exactly.
got a business that's 3 years old, and they've got a really great idea, they've got a great work ethic, they've got a great reputation, but they're really bad at sales. So talk about that. How do we help them?
Yeah, and it's a great point, because honestly, a lot of our clients are like that. I mean, because while we talk about selling the businesses, because we do sell businesses, we also do a lot of consulting for businesses that we know when they get ready to sell, we're going to be the ones selling them, but we don't know when they're going to sell, because it's not like, hey, we're going to do it next year. I want to grow my business until I get it to the value I want, and they've got an idea, and that might be 10 years. So, but when you look at the a la carte services, what really became apparent to us is that when you're preparing a business to sell, there are so many factors that have to be right. I mean, your HR has to be right. You have your tax situation, your financials, your owner has to have their financial planning done well, so they're ready for that. And when you think about all those things that have to be right to sell a business, those are the same things that should be right when you're running your business. They are. So
to get the most out of it. And that's the way I've been phrasing it to people. Get the most out of your business while you own it and once you're ready to walk away.
Exactly. Because, if you're lumping along and you're making enough money to be happy, do you really know that business is going to have enough value when you sell it to do what you need after? Well, there's some financial planning that needs to get done. There's some valuation work that you probably should do, because I'll tell you what, if you get to the end and it's not worth enough, it's a hell of a lot worse than it is if you do it 5 or 10 years earlier, and then you start to do what you need to do.
You don't need to find out at the end.
Yeah. I want someone to think about this too from a different perspective, because a lot of us, when we're able to pay the bills, we get comfortable. We've done it this way. We've always done it this way. We're making the profit we expect to make, and we think everything's fine. But sometimes if we just open it up and look at what our competitors are doing, maybe they're making 4 times what we're making with less resources. And you go, why is it that they're so much more successful than me? Well, first of all, you have to not be so proud to take an honest look. But you could bring in Exit Your Way. You could bring us in, and we could do an honest evaluation for the company and go, look, I know that you're making, this profit margin, let's say it's 38% or 58% or 158%. You're happy with that, and you've always done that, so you're good. But, your competitor or the market is averaging a higher percentage. So can we make tweaks if you allow us to come in? That's something that we can evaluate, assess, and then implement the solutions if you'll let us. So it's not always the underperforming or the companies that are in danger. It's also the companies that are just underperforming, and sometimes they don't even know it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're a business owner and you're open to an evaluation, maybe it's been a while since you've had somebody look under the hood. That's another reason you could bring us in as a consultation.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to know. Yeah, it's hard to know where you're going if you don't know where you are.
And that's just it. And what most business owners don't realize is that the value of their business, you can go off and read articles about all these values and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, and Andrew will tell me better than myself, but, if you just take your revenue and, 50 to 75% of your revenue is probably close to what you're going to get for the sale of your business, right? So let's just do that. Let's just break it down, in a little bit in that. So you can make $20,000 a month. You make $240,000 a year. That's $700. So if you look at that and we look at what that is basically in multiples standpoint, you're probably going to get 3x on something like that, right? 2 to 3x. Well, if I don't have enough money saved by the time I get to the end, and I'm making 200 and some $1,000 a year, and I'm going to sell my business for 700 and some thousand, that's not nearly enough to do what I need to do after that. So you're at that oh darn moment if you wait to the end going, I get to run my business now for the rest of my life, or until I can't run it anymore,
Because
or
you can't afford to retire is what you're saying.
can't afford to retire, obviously. And this is the very thing that drove us into doing what we do, because we got, you know, we'd have to tell people their business wasn't worth enough. And it's like, listen, we can do better than that. This is what we've done forever. We've done this. We built businesses forever, and this is what we do. So that's why we started Exit Your Way. That's why we do it now the way we do. And we set that goal out there, and we go, listen, it is worth whatever. And that's not enough, but this is what we have to do to get there.
Let's bring all this together. Okay. So that example that you just talked about, somebody's making 240 a year or whatever. You say, okay, I can sell your business for 3X. That's 720. So they're walking away with 720,000. They're 60 years old. They're 63 years old. Let's say they can basically live for 3 or 4 years the way they've been living, and then they're out of money. So what you're saying is that's not enough. But here's an alternative. They're 63. They bring us in for a year or so. They let us work on fixing the sales. Now, instead of bringing in 240, they start bringing in 350. Right now, when they walk away with that 3 times, now they're walking away with over $1 million. Well, 950. Okay. So did I get my math right? I don't know. Anyways, I think $1 million. So if they're walking away with $1 million, that will certainly go a lot farther. Now you can start looking at a financial planner who can put in some type of annuity investment. So now you're living on, what you're making in interest a month and not touching the principal. And these are things you may or may not be good at as an individual. Yep. So we're building your business up so your sales are higher, and then we're helping you figure out how to live off of that so you don't just burn through the principal.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really important to understand, and I think that the owners miss it a lot, is because that exit value, that terminal value at the end, what you sell it for, it's never quite as much. And I deal with this all the time because it's always a surprise that it's not enough, especially after the tax man takes a bite out of you.
Yeah, right.
Big bite.
You mean there's taxes?
Yeah. However, if they buy stocks, you're a business owner, most of your investments in your business, but you carve off enough cash flow to put it in the stock market. If your company, you're looking at that all the time. You're looking at the company performance. You're reading the quarterly reviews. You're going to sell off that company if it isn't growing. Why don't you treat your other investment, your business, like that too? And continually check in on that value and how you are progressing, and having a target where, an investment strategy where it's time to jump off, and not just based on a strategy of, well, I'm 65, it's time to get out now. And that's when I'm going to get out. Why do you get out then? You don't want to get out then. You want to get out when your share price hits, the target you're looking for. Right.
Yeah,
and that could be 1 year or 2 years.
Well, it could be Exit Your Way, right? It's called Exit.
Exactly.
Right. And like our evaluation expert said this morning, knowledge is power.
Yep.
Yeah.
So knowing where you're at, tracking where you're at, your progress, and then, refining your strategy around that. That's how you make your decisions. But what Exit Your Way does is bring resources. So what you can do is that's the real key, is that you can affect a change pretty quickly in a company, because if you can get buyers, if you can create momentum, if you can start to get upswing.
If you have a LLC and you're used to being basically a one-man band, or you're the monarch of your organization and you want to leave it, you may have trouble allowing a team to come in. But if you're wise and you do let the team to come in, that transition period will be easier. You may, when you sell, I know this is fairly common in the print industry. The business owners start, so it's a first generation shop. They typically have somewhere around $1 million worth of assets, equipment that they've acquired to running the shop with. They'll sell it, but they'll agree to stay on for 2 years usually to continue sales. One of the reasons why they do that, obviously, is it helps them transition the clients over. But another thing is it's a way to earn some additional revenue after they've taken that
Mhm.
that terminal sale hit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we can structure things like that too for people that that's not necessarily common in their industry.
Yeah.
I mean, the solutions are out there if people are open to getting the help.
Yeah, we have talked about what we've been talking about is somebody who's leaving, retiring, or they're really at the end. But that isn't always the case. I mean,
Yeah.
you can, and private equity groups and buyers are very interested in keeping ownership in place. And then what they're doing is allowing the seller to the business owner to take his risk off the table, take some money out of the business, maybe even keep controlling interest.
Yeah. Well, we talked about stock today too. You know,
Yeah.
an employee stock option plan or program
Mhm.
that, can allow an owner to sell a certain amount without giving up, maybe it's 49% or maybe it's 40%. So they still have, control. They're
Yeah.
managing
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
ESOP is another way to gain capital, either on an exit or on growth. But in that case, you're getting it from your employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which is, it can be good and bad. It's something to be cautious about because you are giving up control when you sell always, and your employees then you're the bank.
Well, and
You know,
that's
the
what
pay-
I do a lot of.
Well,
I do a lot of that.
succession plans too for people, like in the engineering world that have the principal and then they bring in an associate principal with this whole idea of eventually they are going to sell the business and let the associate become the main owner. But there's a succession plan for the practice to
Yeah.
transition. So all the clients get to know the new person and they are involved in the day-to-day operations of the work. And then eventually, the founding principal backs
Mhm.
out. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
a lot of there's a lot of
we call that as goodwill. And like a good example is a dental practice. People, it's a very personal relationship with your dentist, right? So the guy who comes in and buys a dental practice, it's who you're going to allow to climb into your mouth, right? And the guy who's been doing it for 30 years or the new guy.
Yeah.
It's hard to transition those sometimes, but you're right. That's a good path. They do that by bringing in partners and letting them work in the business for a while. And that's their exit strategy, which can work.
So I'm gonna open up some questions. We have, I don't know, it's oscillating between 8 and 10 people that are watching us online. So I'm just gonna ask them if they have any questions for us. I want to ask you guys as business owners, what do you think the biggest struggle right now for people that, it's an interesting market with COVID, right? And maybe I should phrase it this way. What's the biggest difference between, somebody trying to exit right now and somebody was trying to exit in February before this all kicked off? What's the biggest difference you think?
You want to go first, Andrew, or can I? Well,
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I'll tell you, they missed a hell of an opportunity here because one of the things that most people don't know is that the SBA was on these SBA loans to buy a business. They're paying the first 6 months principal and interest. If your loan's funded before, what is it, end of September or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some deals that are going to hit that, and those buyers are very, very happy about that. But the other thing is actually for some of these businesses, people that have been displaced but have some cash that they want to invest into something, they're looking for businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still good businesses around. They may not be as many as there were before, obviously, but there still are good businesses. And we've got, when you look across the board at our clients, we've got some in industries that have been just hammered. They're still going to make money. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It is good companies figure out ways to stay in it, right? And make money. And I think that's one of the things too that we see is that there's always good companies for sale.
Yeah, even in bad industries, industries that are getting hit right now, opportunities are rising because they're picking up some of their competitors' works who are falling by the wayside and kind of needed to go anyways. And they're going to get bigger and stronger. But the buyers are active. The money's available. The money's cheap. If you have the experience and you can get some backing, you can leverage. yeah, there's opportunities to buy there. I think probably even more active than before COVID.
We talked about acquisitions and mergers a little bit this morning in our meeting, but I want to table that for just a second because I want to answer my own question. I think one of the biggest challenges right now for folks are with sales across the board, because most sales are down for a couple of reasons. Obviously, if their clients are selling to, or I'm sorry, if the vendor's selling to a client that's closed, like you're in the restaurant industry and selling food. Well, obviously their orders are down. That affects your sales, right? So it's not always just your sales teams falling down on the job. It's just that the demand has shrunk. And then, of course, the opportunity to meet in sales, the in-person client rapport building is now done virtually. And if you have an older sales team, I've got a client that they're paying me now at Bowman Digital Media where they would have never had to before because, they're established in their industry. Their reps are regional, so they're used to knocking doors and they're good at cold calling, but they can't, and they don't have an established social media network like I do on LinkedIn. So the opportunity for me as a vendor arose because of the change in the market. So I think that's one of the things that people face across industries. It's one of the biggest challenges that I see as a consultant is that people are struggling with sales. And wouldn't you know that the reason I was brought on the Exit Your Way team was to help our clients with that too. So if you're struggling with sales, these two can validate, and they did validate just by bringing me on that I can help. They saw the value. Look, at the end of the day, there are solutions to most problems. A lot of times it requires a little bit of an out-of-box thinking. And it's not necessarily out of the box, it's just maybe out of your box. Because we all have come from, you were talking about this with Ron Higgs just a moment ago before the show started about how can I appreciate or understand, and you can't always, but you can at least be sensitive to the fact that people have different experiences. And so, he happens to be an African-American male and a veteran, and I'm neither of those things. So for me, I can't live my life from his perspective, but I can be sensitive to the fact that he's living it in a different way. And if I'm not good at sales, all I have to do is be sensitive to the fact that there might be a way for me to increase sales by trusting an advisor. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I think Exit Your Way at the forefront is right up front. And on the first thing we'll do is look at sales. Sales is the most important. And it started, when Damon will talk about one of the things that we're seeing is a lot of businesses right now. It's been 10 years since we've had a financial pullback.
Yeah.
A lot of them have never experienced it. Now we're kind of old guys, so we've been through a few of these before, but right, Damon?
Yeah. We don't get this many wrinkles without not going through a few of them.
Right here, this is Deborah Brand. She's basically kind of talking about the same vein that I just did with the sales. One thing in sales that most people don't understand because they don't study business the way I did in college is there are substitute goods. So just because sales of a traditional product or service are down because the market changed, a lot of times a business, if they pivot, and that's the word I want to focus on is pivot, to a substitute product or good because of the change in the market that addresses the need, not for the vendor, but for the client. If you can position yourself to have a solution, for example, we're going to talk about fractional work in a minute, which is a pivot, right? Mm-hmm. If you do things like that, that makes sense, not just for you, but for your client. Your sales can actually go through the roof right now, as mine are at Bowman Digital Media. I didn't exist 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Every sale I make is a new sale. My sales, if you look at the chart, are through the roof, right? What Dale Richard was calling the hockey stick chart.
Yeah.
Sales. Well,
Deborah, the answer to Deborah's question is how will COVID affect sales? It just changes it, but there's still these.
Yeah, the market forces have changed. As a business, you have to adjust, but that's always true. Uptime.
But that's always true. Yeah, and the fundamentals are the same, but the other thing is that this is what's great about small businesses and lower middle market companies. Big ones can't react and adjust that.
Yeah.
Small businesses do this every day.
Yeah, and Deborah just mentioned that about edible arrangements per shipping fresh fruit. I mean, that's a perfect example of doing that. I mean, for example, with one of us, we have a client that is in the oil field services industry, right? It's a sizable client now. And this is over six producing regions and things like that. And they got hammered when this hit because the price of oil, look at it, went down to on the board to zero. And they looked at, they're obviously freaking, but they were able to pivot with some new products. They were able to pivot into different industries that could utilize their workforce. They're still going to end the year profitable. Yeah, it's a little bit down from last year, but it's not going to be great.
Yeah.
And it's not horrible.
One of the things that I notice the most, and this is complacency.
Yeah.
And businesses get complacent when things are good. Sales come to them, and oh shit, now we got to get going on sales because now they're harder to find. Yeah. And like Damon and I have been through a couple pullbacks, recessions before, and worked on the front lines with companies to pull out these things. But at the end of the day, the smart ones, the one in our experience, the smart businesses, the smart business owners are the ones who double down on sales when things like this happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to say this: you can make excuses or you can create solutions, and there's really not room for both. There may be, when you pivot, there may be a ramp up period. You should expect it, right? Nobody foresaw COVID. I mean,
no.
That just is what it is. So it did take some time for companies to pivot. I will talk about this from the print industry. I went from a horrible April to a really good May. My June was phenomenal, right? Because what happened was I had to figure out, okay, what do my clients need now?
Yeah.
Because business has changed, but everybody needed COVID stuff. Especially when they started to reopen, they needed to develop a safety plan, not just for their customers, but also for their vendors and for their internal employees. And so things like safety shields that I had never considered producing as a print shop before were now something that I was creating. Floor graphics. I've been talking about floor graphics for 10 years. I was way ahead of the curve on floor graphics, and I was doing it in the casinos in Vegas. So, that's not relatively new to me, but for most clients and most businesses, go to banks, go to, supermarkets, go to, insurance companies.
Yeah.
You weren't seeing graphics on their floors. It just wasn't happening. But now you can't hardly go anywhere. If you go out, if you venture into a business today, I almost guarantee you there's going to be a printed graphic on the floor. That was a pivot. So anyways, I hope that answers your question. Deborah, it was a great example too, by the way, with the edible arrangements. But Chris also has a great question I want to talk about too. And that's sourcing, and this will lead us to fractional, right? So let's talk about labor. And I believe 100% that COVID is a paradigm shift that will change the way a lot of businesses do business moving forward, because I think there's smarter ways to do business, including I work for you guys. I'm not an employee of Exit Your Way. I'm a fractional employee through, I'm a contractor.
Yeah.
Digital media is contracted by Exit Your Way. And I think it's a very smart way. That's how I'm living my life now. And I think that's how a lot of people, you don't have to pay my benefits. You don't have to pay a salary for something that you're not necessarily going to get. And I get some stability as a contractor of working for a couple different companies.
As an individual, as someone who's working, you're a business, and you've just diversified your customer base. If you're using basic mental principles, like being a fractional, which is better for you than to rely on just one customer, which is your job. And to answer his question also too is that companies that outsource, the big companies have been outsourcing. Like the big companies don't create jobs. It's the small businesses in this country that create jobs, and they always have, and innovation.
Yeah.
And that's where all these ideas are coming from. When those ideas come, then they get hired. The big companies, they don't do that. They'll buy us up, but they won't buy them. So it's a great story, but that's it's happening. The jobs will come back, and they're going to be different than they were.
Well,
That's the nature of it.
I think with like HR, I'm going to tie this into Project Help You Grow a little bit because this is an example that's it's on my mind. When people were used to, submitting their resume, right? Let's go back even to like 1995. I'd go to Kinko's, I'd have my briefcase, I'd have a copy of a really nice written resume.
yeah,
I'd give my copy of that resume to the person behind the counter. And what would they do? They'd print me 250 of them or maybe 500 of them on linen paper. It looked really good. I'd put them back in my briefcase and I'd go hit the street. And I would beat the street, passing out resumes until I was blue in the face until somebody hired me. And, a lot of people they're still actually doing it that way, which is what I'm trying to teach people on Project Help You Grow. Don't do that. That's not the right way. We have a thing called ATS. We have these things called keywords. The paradigm has shifted. So if you're doing your job search, if your job search resembles 1995, you need to stop it. The same thing with the way employees need to think about themselves and the way employers need to think about how they hire. Because you can get more from both ends now. As the employee, you can get more. For the employer, you can spend less and get the value. It's better value for both ends.
yeah.
Well, we're a small business, just like our clients are.
Right.
But what we use and what discovered what Exit Your Way is, we get excited because of all the resources that are available now to us that we can leverage. I can have a CFO that I couldn't hire for $300,000 a year plus full benefits and a car and all that stuff. I can get that level of talent now because I don't need it full time. One day a week, once a month. Tax advisors, sales consultants. And the various aspects of that. So if you really understand how to lever those capabilities, well, it's just what Exit Your Way is. It's phenomenal.
All of this requires a change in your mentality.
Yes.
If you as a business owner can still be flexible, can still be fluid, and make adjustments to the market forces as we see them now, not to what we want them to be or what they used to be in our glory days. Our best days can still be ahead of us, even at the end of the life cycle for you, if you will trust a group of advisors to come in who are all independently good at what they do. That's what makes Exit Your Way so neat. We have all these different consultants in our team that are truly experts at what they do. We quarterback, and I don't even want to say we as in me because I'm the sales quarterback. You guys know how to pull all the strings to put the people who are the best in position to help our clients get the most out of their sales and their job while they still own the company. So that multiplier that Damon was talking about, and it can be more than 3, by the way, it can be 2x, it could be 8x. So it just depends on a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
That's how you get a certified valuation too, by the way. so we know what the thing is actually worth, not just what we think, not just what we think it should be worth, right? There's a lot that goes into that. But then it's worth 5 times. But if we can figure out, and we will figure out if it pays to, what your business is actually worth, but then we increase your sales so that it's worth more. If we can have a 25% positive impact on your annual sales, and your business is worth 4x, guess what? You just made 100% more.
Well, if you think about it this way, if I'm selling a company, Ira, and the buyer comes in and he's got 2 salespeople and the owner, and they're working on it every day, and they have been for the last 10 years. Or they've got Bowman Digital Media working on there, and their sales have gone up. I'm selling, you're now part of the asset of the business. And that's, you just increase the value just by your presence there and the performance, of course, that backs it up. But you have to think about, you have to listen to the customer. And the customer isn't the person buying your product or service. Not in this game. The customer is the buyer of the company.
Yeah.
And they're looking at different things. There are buying people too. No, that's a huge part. You just have to go through a few deals before you realize how important that is. Because,
human capital, when it's acquired in the right way, not only makes the books look better for the business owner who's running it, but also for the buyer, because it's built to succeed into the future.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
we spend a lot of time, as Andrew said, when you're looking to do something with your business, and we learned it when we were running businesses for professional investors in private equity people. It's like, listen, you have to know who you're going to sell your business to almost the day that you start your business. You should, because that's at the end, if it looks better to them, they're going to pay you more for it. It's that simple.
Right.
So if your business is it doesn't matter. It's an HVAC business and you think you're going to sell it to this person or this other business or this equity group, whatever it is, you need to know what the companies look like that they're going to buy, that they buy, what they're looking for in specific. You need to make sure your business has those. It's no different than when you talk about selling a product or other service. You have to understand what that customer is looking for, what their challenges are, what they really, really, really want, because you can increase the value of your business just by focusing on those things.
Mm-hmm.
A simple thing that we do, that if we know a company is going to be purchased by an investment buyer that many business owners would never think of, we set up a board of advisors. We set up a monthly board meeting process. We get all the procedural stuff set up and the review of the information. A private business owner that just has their own business, doesn't matter if it's $50 million a year, $100 million in revenue, probably doesn't have that set up because they don't need to. But the moment an investor comes in, they will want a board. They will want to have a seat on the board or 2 seats on the board. They will want to see a board process in place. And by doing that, we've made that business a lot more friendly for an investor. And we've also gotten the owner used to how I act in a board meeting. What happens in a board meeting? What does my board do for my business? Just that simple thing makes a huge difference in the price of the business because they don't have
it's
to
like,
come in.
you're putting in accountability into it. And, and it's, that it's just like too. I mean, if they borrow money from the bank, the bank's going to be there. The banker's going to be there and asking you for your last month's financials every single month.
Yep.
They're going to ask hard questions because you have to be accountable. It's no different. And there's no reason not to set up an organization. Accountability is good. It doesn't have to be bad. But then, but hey, when a buyer comes in, they're going to look at they're going to look at each department. So let's look at sales, and they're going to go, they're going to rate it. This is a good, it's an A, B, C, or D grade on the sales department right now. And D level sales departments, you have to be able to evaluate your own sales department. If it's not there, if it's not A level, then, exit your way. That's what we'll do is we'll get you an A level sales team that on a fractional basis. It's affordable and we'll get you through a transition and we'll get a buyer excited about your company. That's how it works.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I'm going to challenge people out there right now. Maybe they're 45, they're 50, they're somewhere like that. They've been running their business for quite a while. They're making decent money. They feel comfortable, but they haven't had an accountability partner. They haven't had to justify their bad habits in a while. I want to challenge you to bring us in for a consultation. Because I promise you have some bad habits that if you are open to a little bit of embarrassment, we'll make it better. And that's going to make you more money. So you have to kind of embarrassing. Aside for a second and go, okay, if I can make more money, and I'm not promising you anything as far as, percentages and growth and all that stuff, but I do know this. Even at Bowman Digital Media, which is, all of 2 months old, I have probably already inherited or enacted some bad practices that if I would make a change, I would do better. And so I'm super organized with my schedule. I work a lot, all those things, but I know that there's things that the efficiencies are not as good as they could be, or the practices are not best practices. And it might be because I don't know about them. It might be because I don't understand how they really work and how it all ties together. So for those of you out there who are comfortable, maybe it's time to get uncomfortable. For this purpose of, what did you just say? A business owner should know who they want to sell it to already, right? Yeah. So if you're thinking from that frame of mind, not from I'm 40 or I'm 50 and I've got a long ways before I need to worry about that. But if you're thinking about it now, how much more will your business be worth in 10 years if you start working on it today, as opposed to you wait until the year that you want to sell it?
Yeah. And be honest with yourself. It's
Yeah.
okay. Because I guarantee you 95% of the business owners I've talked to don't know.
Yeah.
You know, they just haven't. You know, they're happy with the cash flow they're getting. They're paying their bills.
They
You know,
don't
they
have
got a nice lifestyle, and all that's really, really good until it's not. It's not like it's the end of the world. It's just, why settle, right? But you know, I mean, the ultimate thing is when you guys, Damon and Ira, and they go in and work with a company, and it's all around positioning and getting that professional management in place that that an investor will come in and want to see to buy a company. And I've had this time and time again. The owner's like, God, they just started doing this at 1 year away from selling or two, and they go, we should have been doing this all along.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem simply is most people don't have an exit strategy for reals. They don't even consider who they're going to sell it to. They're working. But I'm going to tell you this, even those that do have an exit strategy in their mind, they always forget about the wild cards, the surprises. The wife got cancer, they got cancer, something like COVID happens.
Yeah.
So their plan all along to sell it at 65, and they turned 65 in March of 2020. And now they can't sell it for what they thought it was because the business isn't worth what it needs to be to get that $1 million or get that $10 million or whatever it is they need.
Yeah.
So you have to not only shoot for the moon, you've got to shoot past it because you might fall short. So
yeah. Well, there's bad reasons to sell a company, and you touched on one of them. And death, divorce, disillusion, declining sales, all bad.
Yeah.
And people sell, burnout. They just get tired, and it's timing, right? So it's really the only good way to sell a business is to sell it.
You definitely want to sell on the upswing. You want momentum in your favor.
And that's really, I mean, more than anything, what we do is we really start creating that upswing. And it is with accountability. It's with weekly work. We meet with our clients every single week. We meet with them every single week. We review the progress from last week, the performance. I mean, that's our KPIs that we set up in businesses. They more than likely never had them. And I'm not talking 100 different numbers. I'm talking 4, 5, 6 at the most that you can do that will give you a tremendous idea of how your business is running and how it's tracking towards your goals. Yeah. Again, with the focus of the person buying it's going to want to see how well you track towards your goals.
It's in real time. They know there's problems, right?
Yeah.
So if there's a problem, what they care about is if you know the problem. And so many of my clients too, their books close at the end of the month, and they don't review the financials until all the bookkeepers get done reconciling. It's 3 weeks after last month. It's just too late by then. It literally is. And if a buyer comes in and sees that's how you manage your company, that's got to get fixed. They're not
going to be the buyer. They were the prospective buyer who moved on.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we call it PAS, which is
pass. Yeah. Find something else, Mr. Customer. I want to say this too. A lot of times, the complacency is the major issue, right? They're tired. Maybe they've got a team that's been in place for a long time. Some paradigm shift happened, and they just don't know how to handle it. It's not that they don't want to; they just don't know how. You bring us in, bringing in a different set of experience.
Yeah.
For example, like I said, with the sales, COVID closing off basically almost all cold calling. If you have a team that's great at cold calling, but only in-person cold calling, now you're stuck. Yeah. And so bring in somebody like Exit Your Way that, we can help you. We have an apparatus already built with a huge social media component, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's more than just that. It's the strategies behind it. And you guys have seen me work with you before I was even a part of the team, that, a lot of it is a roadmap that makes sense.
Yeah.
Putting in simple practices that are practical, that are effective, that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You're just like, oh, that makes sense. I never thought about a drip campaign with this type of, we're just going straight for the pitch. And it's like, well, no, we want to build some rapport first. We want to build some trust first. And it wasn't hard. It wasn't painful. and it was effective. You guys saw it immediately, and that's why I'm.
Well, and that's the other thing too, Ira. You're so right. You don't have to recreate the wheel.
Yeah.
And so many business owners do that because that's the way they built their businesses: trial and error and figuring out. Open it up. Figure out where the people are doing it right and do it that way. It's it works. And don't be and you don't have to do it all yourself. Let go, let them do their thing. If you understand the right numbers and the metrics and you can follow it, it's you'll get momentum going. And then once that happens, there's your exit.
Yeah, the one comment, I think it was Arthur here. Let me put it back up. He was talking about growing sales one customer at a time. So this actually really does depend on your vertical market a little bit. Some verticals are one at a time. Exit your way. Frankly, we're not usually working with 100 different companies trying to sell at the same time, right? So for us, we can grow one at a time. But if you're in the print business, if you're ARC, my former employer, and you grow one at a time, you're because of attrition, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Lose a certain amount of business too. People go out of business or whatever, especially right now. So it depends a little bit on the market, but certainly I understand what you're saying. And I think in cases than not, you are correct. You're looking for volume. And how do you gain strategically is with a good system, not just with happenstance.
Well, sales is a process too. Process.
Well, I'll talk about it specifically for me at Exit Your Way, right? I'm the director of sales and marketing. What am I doing specifically at Exit Your Way to try to reach out? Well, I'm doing social media posts for one, and that's like a wide net, right? I'm casting a wide net. And then I'm reaching out behind the scenes. I'm making phone calls. I'm sending out emails. I'm sending direct messages to folks. I'm following up with people that we had talked to, they're like tickler file folks. Yep. And so you have your specific reaches that are personalized, and then you have your wide reaches. And then there's the other thing, of course, which is the referral source. When's the last time you guys went through, and I'm just going to ask this to the general at large, not you. I know the answer for you guys, but audience at large, when's the last time you reached out to folks that you're doing business with? They're happy with you. When's the last time you said, hey, do you know anybody else in your network that might, benefit from my services? And then you can flip the script and go, hey, by the way, I'd be happy to, refer people to you too.
I'll just go for anybody out there who knows anybody who's 55 or older and owns a business and is thinking about selling. We're here, so give us a call. Let them know.
A company that would be interested in talking to them. And in case you're curious who that company is or where to find us, there's a little hint. Exit Your Way. Again, you don't have to sell your company, but that is our avatar. Our avatar, the people that we help the most are people that are business owners that are looking for not to jump out right this second, but for a strategy to get out with more, right? Yeah. Get more from your business. That's really what we're trying to do.
Get what you want.
Yeah. And we increase the value a lot. They can look at our website and see what it is. A lot of people don't believe it, but we can show them how it happens. And
we have people they can talk to. Their referrals are there. I could have joined several companies doing what I'm doing for Exit Your Way. I had options. I picked Exit Your Way for a reason, guys. If you know anything about me, Ira Bowman, you're watching the show, you probably do. You know that I don't make a lot of stuff up. I wear my heart out on my sleeve. I say what I do and I mean what I say. And I'm telling you, I had options, and Exit Your Way was a no-brainer for me because I know these guys. I've been in the trenches with them, but I also have dealt with people that have dealt with them long enough that I knew their reputation far before, I made that commitment. And that people need to understand that the team that represents you is important. One of the things that I love about Exit Your Way is I know that they have similar values and work ethics to me, especially these two guys here. I don't want to embarrass them, but I will. They work hard. We're on this Microsoft team thing, and I can see when they're on. They're not goofing around, right? And you want someone who's going to...
At the end, what's cool about it is it's a great job. We love doing it. And it's a lot of fun. And it really is, but what small business owners are doing is awesome. And it's a horrible process to go through selling your company. And, if we can help a company, not only get sold and transition and then continue on, but maybe prosper doing it. This is good stuff. We're doing a good thing.
Yeah, I tell you what, when the money hits their account, they are happy. And and honestly though, now you just forget about the money. You've changed their life. You've helped to change their life. They work for 20, it could be 20 or 30 years they've worked on this damn thing. And before we talk to them, they could have had a business that couldn't sell, and we've allowed them to do it and put money and their kids and whatever else it's just like
80% of businesses can't sell because it's not valued at anything. It's not considered worthy of being bought. We can come in and fix that. Now they're getting something, but also they're getting more than they would have even if it was available to sell, because we're increasing their net multiplier value, right? So the sales, if they're $250 a year and you increase it to $350, now I don't care what the multiplier is, if it's 1.5 or 8 or 10. It's
worth $1 million to your top line. Your exit.
Right. Your top line sales will help your bottom line value for what you're walking away with every single time.
Yeah.
It can be done. It can be done, and we do it all the time. It's like I said, it does the return that you would appreciate from it is staggering. But come and talk to us. We'll show you how it's done.
Yeah, they don't actually buy for a lot of reasons. It's not just the fact that they're trying to buy a big business. That's not always true. They're looking for a business that has a risk that is acceptable, right? So the income to debt ratio, the business practices. There's all kinds of reasons why somebody wouldn't want to buy a business. A lot of it has to do with they're not running their business in smart ways, the most efficient ways, what I would call best of practice ways. And it could be that their books are bad. It could be that the owner's done crazy things with the finances. They haven't invested in their assets correctly. Their building's dilapidated. Maybe they've got all their plant and production in one spot, and their competitors are smart because they've split out. And spread out. There's all kinds of reasons why a business wouldn't sell. But I'll tell you what,
they don't have Bowman Digital Media working for them.
Right. Maybe they don't have a web presence at all, and that's been the paradigm shift, right? I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why a business may not sell, and that 80% is not over-exaggerated. It's true. But if you bring an exit your way, your odds of success are a lot higher. Look, we'll tell you straight away if we can't help you. If if there's no hope for you, we will not waste your time, because we get paid when you sell. So we're not going to waste our time either. But the fact is, we can take most losing situations and flip the script pretty quick because we're good at what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have? I like to talk about books. So on my reading stand right now is building a story brand. This was actually a present. One of my friends at church gave me this. He's in the graphics business too. So it's called Building a Story Brand. It's Donald Miller. I'm almost done with it now. Now, Andrew, I hate to steal your thunder, but you told me to buy this book yesterday. Yep. Amazon Prime, baby. I ordered it yesterday. It is here today, and I didn't pay a penny for shipping. This is awesome. But
okay.
Yeah, this is my next book. So you can either talk about this book or a different book if you want.
No, Traction's a good book, and a good system. That's just the basis of it. And what is it? EOS is what it's called, the entrepreneurial operating system. But we have several of our partners in the Exit Your Way group are practitioners and implementers of that system. It's a little different, but it's got some of the principles that we apply and use at Exit Your Way. So that's a good one. I highly recommend.
Yeah.
Shout out. We got Nick Dorsey and Joe Stepke.
Yeah, I see they're on there.
Those are our friends. So Nick Dorsey actually just moved down from Seattle. I don't know why anybody wants to live in Seattle, frankly. Damon's
summertime.
Yeah, summertime with the mosquitoes that you'll fly away with you. But he lives in Arizona now. I got to meet him. He's working for Carvana. And then Joe Stepke runs Joe the Finance Guy. They do no credit payment options for if you need it. So anyways, just
and actually his stuff plays into some of the e-commerce retailers that we work with, because they, you can increase your revenues like 25-30% by adding a no credit option to your sales pipeline with you when you have bigger ticket items, like some of our e-commerce clients that we used to have did.
Well, he hired me to fix his website. So he was basically living off of a GoDaddy type of a site. And he wasn't getting any SEO traction at all. A domain authority that was zero, web traffic that was zero. Now he's got a website that custom built, a WordPress site that already has a domain ranking, I think, of 4 just in the first 30 days with web traction. He's already got over 50 backlinks that are registered, and he's got keywords that are registering. So it's amazing how fast we can take someone who's struggling and get them. It's like a siphon. You just start to siphon off more and more, and it builds, and you're building in a different way. He's getting more leads. I don't think Joe Stepke's left his house in like 60 days because he's making so much. He's making so much money he doesn't have to leave the house.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm only half. He's going to say something here in a second because that's
better be careful. Better turn it off now.
Yeah, we're done. Boom.
All right. Any final words? Anything you guys? Did we miss anything? I think we did a pretty good job.
No,
I do want to say this. We're gonna start doing a show now. Exit Your Way, guys. I want you to go to the Exit Your Way page and follow that page for us. We're gonna start doing a weekly show. We probably will simulcast more on that one. We'll figure it out, but we will oscillate maybe. But we're gonna do a weekly show. We're gonna talk about some of these segments, like an a la carte, if you will.
Yeah.
We do this for all of our clients when we're selling, but some of our clients are buying us just for these things. We're going to get more into depth. What is fractional work? What is, sales development? What is, bottleneck fixing? All the different things. If you're interested now, you can go on our website, exityourway.us, and you can see the services that we offer. But in these weekly shows, we're going to deep dive. We'll bring in guests. Maybe we'll bring in some consultants so that we can introduce them. But we'll also bring on guests so you can ask your questions. There were some really good questions today in the show. We didn't have a huge audience, but part of that's my fault. I didn't announce it. In full disclosure, I didn't have time to create the graphics. So, so I'll get those graphics created. We'll start advertising this, but we'll get it on a schedule so people can plan for it.
Yeah.
I also we'd be remiss if we didn't mention our Remo event, our roundtable every Thursday. Starts at 7:30 Pacific time. I know that's early, but it's not as early for you guys on the East Coast and everywhere else. So it starts at 7:30. What we do, it's really cool. We have these tables where you jump in and you're basically sitting at a table with 5 other professionals, or up to 5 other professionals. And you get to just kind of chit chat, have some rapport building, just like you were at a in-person live networking event without the exposure to COVID. And then at 8 o'clock Pacific time, we bounce on stage and we do a presentation. Every week's a different topic. You get to learn all kinds of cool stuff. And then when the presentation's over, we do the open networking again. And so you get an opportunity to talk to even more people. It happens every week. It's 100% free.
Yeah, and the presentation too is not just a lecture or webinar. People come up on the stage, we talk, we bring people up. There's it's very, that's what we're looking for.
Last week we had stress relief tips by Professor Pete Alexander. The week before that, we had a veteran panel. And we were talking about, all things veteran, which was so cool. I think we're going to do some more of that, right?
Yeah.
What are we doing next week? Next week, we've got a group coming talking about marketing and marketing strategies.
Yeah, it's content generation tomorrow. We got some people on there that are doing big time content generation. Right?
Day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow. Yeah, Thursday. Thursday thing.
We know it's Tuesday, but doesn't it go Tuesday, Thursday? No.
Yeah.
We've got more.
Well, the content generation is, with all the stuff going out on the internet, these people are really, really amazing at getting through the noise and really delivering quality content. It's quite an art to doing that. So you'll learn volume. They have
to produce a large volume, right?
Oh, so,
huge volume. Yeah. And it is.
Talk about email. emails, we're talking about articles, we're talking about blogs, we're talking about social media posts, we're talking about all that stuff that you have to put out to communicate to not only your audience, but your prospective audience, people you're going to generate. So if that's something that you struggle with or you find fascinating or you just want to know how other people are doing it, these Remo events, these roundtable discussions allow you an opportunity to learn more about best practices from other experts in a whole variety of fields. And again, it's 100% free. You don't have to spend anything. We're not going to spam you. You will go on our email list, so we'll invite you to future stuff, of course. And then, somebody like me might call you and say, hey, is there anything we can do to help you? But other than that, we're not going to harass you, right? If you start coming in, you probably make better friends with everybody who comes. And there's about 30 people or so right now who come on a weekly basis. You might find that's a good lead gen source for yourself, because a lot of us are now doing business with the other people in the room that we met there. I met Anderson, I met Alon, I met Ron Higgs, I met a ton of people.
It's been at the end, it's been fun, and when it stops being fun, we won't do it anymore.
Right. If nobody's getting anything out of it that's worthwhile, we'll do something else.
Yeah, we'll figure out something else.
But I will tell you guys, and I've already told you this, but I will tell you, the audience, it is my favorite networking event of the week by far.
Wow.
What I like about it is that table, the opportunity to network at the tables is what makes it unique. It's not much different than going to a Zoom meeting for the presentation part, honestly. But what makes it unique from a Zoom opportunity, you can't keep up with chat comments a lot of times. You just can't. So when you go and somebody's in the audience that you don't know, you really don't get a chance to meet them. But with this, you do. And you get multiple chances. You get to do it before and after. You don't have to feel bad. If you can't jump on until 8 Pacific time, then jump in, because you can still network after. Now, the one thing that doesn't make a lot of sense to me is just going to the presentation and then leaving right after, because we do air these. If you want to see previous roundtables, go to our website. Again, it's exityourway.us, and you can look for the roundtable and you can view previous episodes. The thing that you can't do there is engage with people in the tables. So that's the value. That's why you should mark your calendar right now. And if you want to get on our email guest list, all you need to do is sign up there and say, hey, I want to register for your list, and we'll start sending you an email.
You'll get a reminder.
24 hours before, so you won't forget.
It comes out, so they can just, if someone wants to DM me, they can find me. You can see my name on the screen. It's easy to find. DM me. It's also in my featured featured content on my profile on LinkedIn. So the link's there every week. So
all right. Well, we're gonna bebop out of here. Do you guys have anything you want to do before we go?
Nah, this is great. Thank you, Ira.
Thanks
a
lot.
I will be on, just so you guys know, I will be on Friday for Follow Me Live. I do that usually about 4 p.m. Pacific time. Jump on. That is all about helping you build your network and get more out of LinkedIn. Thank you, Damon and Andrew, for joining me. This has been all about Exit Your Way. Visit us at exityourway.us or send me a message and I'll send you the link. Have a great day, everybody. I should learn how to dance. I really should.
I have no dancing skills.
I can do it. I'm a pretty good dancer.